Hello, friends. It's an honor to talk to all of you today at this forum. Thanks to Group Futurista for providing me this opportunity. Cyber fraud is one of the fastest growing crimes across the world today. So let us talk about this rising risk of cybercrime and cyber fraud. Most businesses today are moving towards digital transformation. We are seeing a huge wave of new technologies like 5G, quantum computing, automation, artificial intelligence being adopted across the world. Cloud computing and storage is replacing traditional data centers at a rapid pace, resulting in business data, including confidential customer information, being stored outside the traditional protected perimeter of our office network. Businesses are adopting the cloud in an attempt to simplify and speed up business. But securing this hybrid and multi-cloud environment is more complex and requires additional tools and controls like multi-factor authentication, which are considered a hindrance to user experience. We are seeing a huge number of data breaches and leakage of confidential customer data from cloud-hosted systems. Cybercrime is increasing because we rely on cyberspace to conduct our daily lives and businesses. In the rush to market products faster and beat competition, many businesses still give cybersecurity a lower priority. CISOs struggle with budget and resources to implement adequate and effective controls. The pandemic has accelerated this digital transformation even further with increased reliance on remote working, mobile payments, and online shopping. Opportunistic cybercriminals are taking advantage of this increasing use of digital platforms and targeting them to their benefit. Cybercrime is progressing at an incredibly fast pace, with new trends constantly emerging. Cybercriminals are becoming more agile, exploiting new technologies with lightning speed, tailoring their attacks using new methods, and cooperating with each other in ways we have not seen before. Criminal syndicates operate across the world, coordinating sophisticated attacks in a matter of minutes. Cybercrime is also increasing because it pays. It can be easy to perpetrate, and the risk to cybercriminals can be low. Hacking tools and exploits are available freely on the dark web, and instructions are shared through social media platforms. Although cybercrime detection has improved, most cybercriminals usually escape arrest and prosecution as they are in a different country. We have seen a huge increase in the number of cyber attacks and frauds in the past year. The global cost of cybercrime is now touching $1 trillion, according to a recent McAfee report. The average cost of a data breach is $3.86 billion, and it takes more than 6 months to detect a breach with all the security tools that we have implemented. The actual remediation takes another 3 months on an average. Cybercriminals are opportunistic and leverage the latest events and human sentiments to craft their social engineering techniques. The COVID-19 pandemic is a classic example of how cybercriminals leveraged the fear and anxiety of people and exploited the vulnerable mindset. An Interpol assessment of the impact of COVID-19 on cybercrime has shown a significant target shift from individuals and small businesses to major corporations, governments, and critical infrastructure. With organizations and businesses rapidly deploying remote systems and networks to support staff working from home, criminals are also taking advantage of the increased security vulnerabilities to steal data, generate profits, and cause disruption. Remote working made cyber attacks easier to pull off. As many corporations ask their employees to work from home with their office-provided devices or personal devices, unsecure access to office network made it difficult for companies to protect their workers from cyber attacks. The shift moving in-person meetings to online video conferencing calls was effectively used by cybercriminals to launch attacks like crashing of private video calls and baiting users with malicious domains. The Interpol Cybercrime Directorate identified over 200,000 malicious domains related to COVID-19, affecting more than 80 countries. Let's look at the profile of the cybercriminals. This profile ranges from youngsters hacking for fun to organized gangs who have moved from physical theft to online fraud and to state actors targeting enemy nations' critical infrastructure. Businesses also face the insider threat of leaking confidential business information and plans. Each of these actors have different targets and modus operandi. They have a large presence on the dark web for exchange of information, buying and selling of hacking tools, as well as personal data, credit card data, and illegal merchandise. Threat actors spread malware through various techniques like email, infected web pages, or supply chain attacks with the intent of getting malware deployed inside your network and devices. This malware then connects back to the hacker command and control systems and exfiltrates confidential information or provides privileged access to your network. This is an example of a fake email leveraging COVID-19 fear to distribute malware. Supply chain attacks are also being increasingly used not only in open source software, but also proprietary software of large vendors. In a recent case, a suspected nation state actor launched a sophisticated cyber attack on a network monitoring software provider. The hackers accessed and injected malware into the software code. This led to the distribution of a tainted version of the network monitoring tool, compromising thousands of customers, including 425 of the Fortune 500 companies, top accounting firms, government departments, telecom companies, and many more. This was not only one of the most significant cyber attacks of 2020, but perhaps of all time. Ransomware continues to be a menace for individuals and businesses alike. It has now pivoted from just encrypting data to the threat of exposing confidential data to the public at large if ransom is not paid. Most of the ransomware is distributed through phishing emails. Ransomware has proven to be a very effective way for criminals to make money, so it's not surprising that it's gaining popularity. In the COVID situation, critical healthcare institutions and pharma companies have been targeted with ransomware designed to lock them out of their critical systems in an attempt to extort payments. This evil menace has grown so much that Interpol has issued a purple notice alerting police in all its 194 member countries to the heightened ransomware threat. Phishing continues to be the most preferred way for distributing malware, ransomware, credential harvesting, and a variety of other cybercrime techniques. There was a significant increase in the phishing email attacks in the last year. Threat actors deployed COVID-19 themed phishing emails, impersonating government officials and healthcare authorities, claiming to provide information and recommendations regarding the pandemic. The phishing techniques are used not only over email, but over text messages, called smishing, or over phone calls, called wishing, and social media too. These cybercriminals are extremely smart and create a sense of urgency to make people give away confidential information like credit cards, social security numbers, and even one-time passwords. Twitter suffered a major security breach on 15 July 2020 that saw hackers take control of accounts of important public figures and corporations. This hack targeted a small number of employees through a phone spear phishing attack. Hackers targeted and got access to about 100 plus accounts, tweeted from 45 accounts, accessed the inboxes of 36 accounts, and were able to download Twitter data from 7 accounts. Attackers also targeted specific employees who had access to account support tools. The accounts affected by the hack started posting fake tweets, offering to send a cash reward to anyone who sent their own money to unknown Bitcoin addresses. Hackers were able to steal around $121,000 in Bitcoin across 300 transactions. Business email compromise is a type of a phishing attack in which cybercriminals impersonate a trusted contact or a third party, either internal or external. The goal is to convince the recipient to pay invoices, transfer funds, or provide other confidential information. By spoofing a trusted entity, the attackers are then able to capture the money or data released by the victim. Invoice and payment fraud is popular because it offers the greatest bang for the buck. Fake invoices sent by attackers have led to some of the biggest financial losses associated with this attack. As businesses have to deal with thousands of vendors and invoices, paying a fake one without question or confirmation becomes very easy. In one of the biggest business email compromise attacks, media giant Nikkei lost $29 million in 2019 when an employee transferred money after receiving email instructions, supposedly from the management executive at Nikkei, but actually sent by a malicious hacker. Phishing attacks also leverage social media to spread fake advertisements and links, enticing people to click these and give away credentials and money to the scamsters. Here is an example of a social media phishing attack. Credentials harvested from these attacks and data breaches are shared and sold on the dark web to other cybercriminals for further attacks and account compromise. Cybercriminals have created fake mobile apps and websites to steal sensitive data and to scam buyers. Genuine buyers were facing shortage of masks and placed orders on these fake websites and paid advance. In the bargain, they lost thousands of dollars to these fraudsters. Apple and Google are taking action to remove fake apps from their stores. However, fake apps are now distributed through malicious websites. The world of cryptocurrency is the wild west of cybercrime, at least for now. There are plenty of cryptocurrency scams waiting to trap new investors, lured by the hype of blockchain technology and seemingly easy profits. A large number of crypto exchanges have been hacked and scores of people have lost money. Since cryptocurrency is not governed and relatively untraceable, it is a medium of choice for cybercriminals. Scammers post advertisements on trusted e-commerce sites, then lure consumers off the sites to messaging platforms with no third-party oversight. They launder the money through a large number of jumping and pass-through addresses or using things like tumblers and mixers before liquidating through exchanges. Many of these scams began in the East and Southeast Asia, but are now popping up around the world. Cybercriminals need to launder their ill-gotten gains and use gullible and needy people as mules. They advertise easy jobs and work-from-home schemes. A lot of people who lost their jobs in the COVID situation have fallen prey to these kind of money laundering scams. We are also seeing rising cyber attacks sponsored by enemy states to cripple the critical infrastructure or disinformation campaigns to cause panic, social unrest, economic disruption, and political gains. These actors also target major businesses in the enemy state with denial of service attacks and advanced persistent threats or supply chain attacks. With the increase in e-commerce transactions in the COVID situation, cybercriminals are also increasing their attacks on e-commerce sites and platforms. As many businesses use popular e-commerce platforms to host their sites, these platforms are being targeted by cybercriminals to get maximum impact and benefit with minimum efforts. They use a number of techniques to target the e-commerce platforms and sites. Account takeover is a commonly used technique. This happens when a fraudster accesses an authentic customer's account using any of the techniques like brute force, man-in-the-middle attack, or simply buying credentials off the dark web. Criminals can get control of any online account, including bank accounts, e-commerce accounts, and email accounts in this manner. Then there are bot attacks. Fraudsters often pull off high-speed ordering by using bot attacks. They can complete add to carts 5 times faster than humans. Bots can strike hundreds of times in a minute, and some bot attacks can last as long as several hours. These attacks are used either to scrape data or block inventory for genuine buyers. Denial of service attacks can cripple an e-commerce site in high shopping season or days like Black Friday, causing immense losses. Theft of credit cards or gift cards and selling them on dark web is a common modus operandi. Scamsters can also hack gift codes and discount codes on e-commerce websites and use it to their benefit. This trend of rising cybercrime is expected to continue and pose a challenge to cybersecurity and cyber fraud professionals even this year. Cybercriminals are also evolving their tools and techniques to adapt to the new normal. So how do we protect ourselves and our organizations from this growing menace? The first step is to identify and assess all the risks, threats, and vulnerabilities which can impact your business. This is not a one-time exercise. The threats will change as the technology and the environment changes. So this needs to be a continuous exercise. We need to implement adequate and effective controls to counter these risks with the latest technology measures, including detection and protection. The technology needs to be supported by the right processes. People are our first and last defense against these risks. We can have the best technology and processes implemented, but if people are not trained to identify risks and apply the right behavior, then the technology controls are bound to fail. Hence, user awareness is key. Cybercriminals share a lot of information and tools. We do not share information enough amongst ourselves as we should. It's important to share threat intelligence, new methods or techniques detected so that others can learn from our experience. Finally, make sure that you report any cyber attacks to law enforcement and never give in to ransom demands or blackmail threats. Always invest in adequate cyber insurance to cover the losses in case your efforts to implement controls fall short. Remember, it's not if, but when. Thank you for your time.